list of stuff that Biden and the Democratic Congress wants to do. Again, as we roughly understand it. And again, this is rough. Remember, this is just my shorthand, and in most cases, we haven't seen the bills yet, so this is just sort of my expectations roughly based on conversations with people who know these things, what we've seen in the press and what the White House and the Democrats have explained. 4 main things. Well, that gift that we got from Richard Nixon, that gift, that tweak that says once per budget, you can pass something just with a majority, just with 51 votes. Once per budget, you can use the budget reconciliation process to pass something with just a majority, which Democrats have just on their own. Well, you can only do that once per budget resolution. Here is the unusual wrinkle in the Democrats' favor. Turns out there was no budget resolution passed last year. They still didn't do last year's budget resolution. And of course, they haven't done this year's yet either. So even though that 40-year-old gift from Richard Nixon usually means you can use this reconciliation process to pass stuff with 50 votes once per year in the Senate, this year they get 2 budget resolutions. They actually get to do it twice, which is a windfall. But put back up that list of things they want to do. That is still not enough to pass this stuff that they want to do, right? With just a majority vote, with just Democratic votes, if they need to do it that way. Think about it. Are they going to get 10 Republican votes for any of these things? Likely not, right? They can only use that one neat trick to pass things with just a majority of votes twice. It's amazing that they can do it twice. That inheritance from Richard Nixon is enough, we think, to pass 2 of these 2 big, ambitious legislative lifts. The 2 that are highlighted here are the ones that we think they're going to go for. What does that do for immigration reform? What does that do for voting rights and shoring up democracy? What does that do with everything else they want to pass through legislation in Congress? I mean, the other hurdle here is that anything they want to pass by this process, they have to make the case to the Senate parliamentarian that everything in that bill is materially related to the budget. If it's not budget related, they can't do it with just a majority vote. But bottom line, using the reconciliation process, they can pass 2 big packages of legislation this year if the Democrats hang together, even if they get 0 Republican votes. If they want to pass anything else besides that, they only have 2 options. They're either going to have to persuade 10 Republican senators to cross over. And again, 10 Republican senators likely would not cross over to vote with the Democrats to proclaim kittens to be soft, right? Let alone to vote with Democrats on something like immigration reform or COVID relief. Or infrastructure, or voting rights. Are you kidding me? 10 Republican senators? Seriously? They can either persuade 10 Republicans to leave their bodies and do something that they are constituently incapable of doing in this era of the Republican Party, or their other option, if they want anything passed at all while Joe Biden is president, if they want anything other than the 2 things they can do through reconciliation to pass, the only other thing they can do is to vote themselves, all the Democrats, to get rid of the filibuster, to get rid of that in the Senate, to make it so a majority vote carries the day on all legislation from here on out, and there's no more 60-vote threshold. They can do some things. Specifically, we think they can do 2 packages of legislation, all of which has to relate to the budget, without the help of 10 Republicans. But that's all they're going to be able to do, unless they can kill the filibuster, or unless Republicans suddenly have a massive change of heart. Don't bet on it. And I know this seems like, U.S. government trivia. It seems like marginalia. It seems like something vestigial we never noticed during the cratering of the disastrous Nixon presidency. But it has become the one thing that determines if we can do anything substantive to get our country out of the mess that we are in. If we can apply the power of government to making lasting change to address the fundamental problems where we are, to give a vaccination program funding nationwide, to give the American people relief from the economic and health disaster that we are in right now, to shore up our democracy, to support and buttress voting rights, to finally reform and rationalize our absolutely broken immigration system, right? If we want to do any of those things, that's where we are now. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.